Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the Business Plugs Mixer. Hi, my name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the Business Plug, and you just tuned in to the Business Plugs Mixer. I'm doing a series of backstories so that you can understand and learn the journeys entrepreneurs have on what got them started to where they are. But before we go there, I'm loving my guest. She's here with me. But before I introduce her to you, I want to tell you about two things so that I keep my team happy. The first thing is if you are looking to get certified as a minority or woman-owned business, then please contact me. The link is in wherever you're watching this. Go ahead and make an appointment and let's talk about how I can get you from where you are to where you want to go. Also, if you're interested in learning how to do business well, then there's a link to my website, getthebusiness.org. You can go ahead and make an appointment with me. And again, we can talk about where you are and where you want to go. My whole goal is to make sure that you understand how to do business well. And so therefore, make an appointment. Let's talk about where you are. Let's talk about where you want to go. And let's get the work done. That's what we're doing. So all that out of the way, that's going to make my team happy. I'm going to introduce you to Dalene Higgins. Hey, Dalene.
Hello, Linda. How are you?
I'm doing fine. So please introduce yourself to my audience.
Yes, everyone. I'm Dalene Higgins. I'm CEO and financial coach of Elevate Finances. And my mission is to guide women and couples over 50 to a fabulous retirement. So if you're looking to retire in the next 5 to 10 years and you're not sure how to make all the puzzle pieces line up, contact me and we can get going.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, Dalene, tell them about your back history. How did this become the business that you do?
Yeah, so 2.5 years ago, I was able to retire at the age of 50. About 6, 9 months prior to that, as I was prepping and get everything lined up, I was like, what am I going to do? What do I want to do? And I explored a whole lot of different options. I'm an avid fiction reader, so I considered, I could go volunteer at the library or in the schools. And I'm like, that's going to come with some scheduled time, not my scheduled time. And I'm retiring. I want freedom, time freedom. And so I found financial coaching and it just resonated with me. I had just reached a huge financial goal, a huge financial dream. And I thought, why can't I help others too? Using that same passion, those same things that, found me success can help them find success. So I became an entrepreneur and it's been a journey. Wow, it's been a journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, talk about who the customers that you've had thus far, talk about what their needs are.
Most of them don't have a very good cash flow strategy. Either they have none or what they've used in the past hasn't worked. And what am I saying by cash flow strategy? A budget, the way your money comes in, the way it goes out, and that it just makes it simple. And so, getting them set up, and this is really needed even prior to retirement. A current client, she says, I need to know I'm not going to outspend my nest egg. She's already saved enough for retirement. She already knows that. But she goes, I am worried. She was so worried about her spending. So we're able to not only, set up this cash flow strategy, but help her feel better about her spending. There's lots of exercises I do in the coaching container to help you realize how to look at spending differently. To me, spending is not good or bad. It should be, we have to spend, but if we can get a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more content, we can do that. I have another couple that are, they came to me for the same thing, cash flow strategy, to help them with that. And they're like, we just want to know that this transition is going to be easy and really get to know our expenses. They, really don't have anything that they feel good or bad about. They just don't know their expenses. And so we're on that journey together. And I just love helping people figure out, those little to big expenses.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, because it's a whole new world. Retirement is a whole new world. Yes. And you only have to get that first deliverance of that monthly income to understand your life is about to change unless you change. Like there are some things you can do to control it, but you have to actually, a lot of times, a lot of people get that first check from Social Security or their retirement or wherever, and they quickly realize, whoa, wait a minute. This is not what I planned for. This is something
Yeah.
different. And so you're helping them put a plan in front of getting that first check so that they're not, so they don't have culture shock, understanding that, yeah, that check is not what you thought it was going to be.
Yes, yes. Because if you know your expenses and then you get something like that, it's easier to pivot and turn and get going and know what you need to do. Yeah. So much power
Absolutely.
in that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so out of the customers you've seen, what percentage do you think have no clue about what retirement really is? Because we see, the commercials, the hype. Yeah, retirement, do nothing, be nothing, sleep your life away, like
Yeah.
all those things. But what percentage in actuality of your customers actually think that when they retire, they can maintain that same financial life they had before retirement?
Yeah, there's, it's probably a 50-50. They're like, I had a recent client and I asked her the question, like, what do you think retirement's going to be for you? What do you want from it? And, how much do you think that's going to cost you? And she's like, it's going to cost more than now. But yet, once you start diving in, you can really detail out what that means. And I think a lot of people are like, well, because I'm not working, I'm going to go spend money. And it doesn't need to be that way. And honestly, retirement is more than just that check and knowing how to spend it. You've got to find a purpose, fulfillment.
That.
And, everybody's like, go and travel. Even if you choose to go travel, that's not every day, that's not
Right.
every season. So, how are you going to fill your cup? How are you going to be happy? And so, I love to say retirement is more than just money. And I think, financial planners are great and they help you grow your money and they help you get there. But I think most of them, I know there's a few of them that do, that forget, like, what is your day to day going to be like? What do you want from it? I was having a conversation with my brother who he retired about a year and a half before me. And he said he was talking to in his company, he worked for the railroad, that railroad, engineers, conductors were passing away within that first year because they had nothing. They were
Mm.
going, to retirement, not financially with nothing, but with no purpose. Like, what are you going to
Mm.
get up for? What are you going to go do? Do you have a support system? Do you have a structure in place? Do you have hobbies? And can you sustain those hobbies? Because, there's lots of people who love to create stuff and build stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but can you financially sustain that? So do you
Mm.
need to, go find another hobby or volunteer or, just really get thinking outside of the box and finish building the rest of your retirement dream, not just the money side, but what are you going to do? What are you going to
Absolutely.
do?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so in this series, like, I want to help business owners or potential business owners, right? Because some may not even been started yet. But I want to give them other ways of thinking about retirement. Like, what does it take to have a good retirement? I'm glad that you said that it's not just money, right?
Mm-hmm,
Because
mm-hmm.
people think we're going to have plenty of money, we're going to travel, we're going to see the world. I'm going to live my life. I'm just going to sleep. I'm going whatever that is, whatever it is that people plan to do. The whole goal of this series is to help people to start thinking about, even if you're not in your 50s yet, start thinking about, well, what does that look like? Because I
Yeah.
believe in beginning with the end in mind, from Stephen Covey. And so
Mm-hmm.
he talked about in the 7 Habits, right? That
Yeah.
you begin with the end in mind. So if people are working now and they're thinking about, okay, in a few years, you said 5 years, if they're thinking about retirement, what does that look like in realistic terms? Not just in theory, but ideally, what does that really look like? And so I'm glad you had that. It's more than money.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
Yep.
more than about money. And
Yeah.
so ideally, when you're helping people to think, change their thinking or firm up their thinking, do you find that sometimes you have to go against mindset?
Yes, yes, because I think there's a lot, well, okay, so mostly we talk about money. Mostly we talk about either you're going to travel or you're going to play golf. I don't do either of those. And so, it's like, or they're like, well, it's just going to happen at this age, or it's just going to happen because of this. There's a lot of things they believe is just going to happen because of the age. And there's so much more. There's so much more. And so believing that retirement is the next phase of life, not the end of, it's end of a career. I was able, I worked my career 32 years, was the end of the career for me, but yet it was the start of entrepreneurship for me.
Yeah.
So I know you said I've got a lot of people who want to build a business. Well, if they're working, what about looking about creating a retirement plan with that and then stepping into that role? You have freedom, you have, the growth I've done, the learning, my mind is still going. So it's like really capturing what is that next phase going to be. And then I also say, okay, so whether you're 55, 60, 65 when you retire, till about the age of 75, 80, you're hopefully going to be pretty vibrant, lively, want to go out and do all the things. Then you've got to look at the next phase as well. What is that next phase? Do you know of some potential health problems, or where are you going to go for care? What if your spouse passes away? What does that look like for you? Or what if, your kids live somewhere else? Just really enveloping what those different phases look like, but go out with a bang with that first one. We've got to enjoy it. We've got to be fulfilled, and I was just sharing, we had recently moved, and I teasingly tell people we bought into a 55 plus community without it being a 55 plus community. The neighbors right directly across the street next to us, they're all retired, but yet watching them and seeing what they do, how they're going about their day, how they're staying busy and keeping busy is just so interesting to me, working with people who are wanting to retire, and I'm watching these other people who are retired. So, they love it. They love life. They're great.
Absolutely. I think when I started getting toward 50, I started thinking about what do I want life to be, right? Because if you've had kids, I had kids young. And so in having children, I did what was required to get them grown. But then once they're all grown and they're gone, okay, now I get to redo my life the way I want to do it, which looks very different than the way I was doing it.
Yeah.
And so I want to have options. You talked about the time freedom. Like, that's huge for me. Like, I love that I don't have to get up at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Or 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock or whatever that is. I love that I no longer have that constraint on my life. But then I love that I get to work with people across the country. So I get, I'm working in 3 different time zones, and sometimes maybe 4 or 5 different time zones.
Yeah.
But having the freedom to do that without having to go home and do homework or go home and do, without having these other things, these other constraints on my time. Yeah. So and that's important to me. It's important to me. I teach GED math on the evenings, Monday through Thursday. Like, that's a big part of what I love doing. Like, I love helping pull somebody else up. I had 4 graduates last graduation. I am overjoyed.
Wow.
Because one of the moms, one of the grandmothers, she wanted, when I first joined the program, she was like, when I have to graduate, and I have to graduate soon because my granddaughter is graduating and I want us both to graduate, right? And so getting to watch her walk across the stage this season, that's life-changing for me.
Yeah.
And so I want to live my life doing that, pouring into other people.
Yeah, because like you said, we've raised the children, we've done the 9 to 5 or the whatever, and so now we get to do whatever we want. We get to find that cup feeling. Like, you filled your cup really well doing that.
Yes. I live for that. Like, I attend, make sure that I'm present, because I know how important this is for people who are trying to finish their life. Like, they're still young. They're 30s, in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. They're still young. Yeah. And so how can I support them in my retirement or my semi-retirement? So that I say semi because it's not really full retirement. But how can I support other people and start paying back some of the things and the blessings that I received?
Exactly. And we know that's twofold. So yeah.
That makes a big difference. So people go to your website, and they can find your website wherever they're watching this video. They go to your website, They make an appointment, and then you talk to them about the services that you offer. So what
Mhm.
does that look like to the average person who has no clue what retirement looks like?
Yeah. So we either start off with the focus of cash flow strategy. If you're like, I kind of already know what I want with retirement, we'll start off there. But if you're like, I don't have any idea, then we dive deep. And I love to help people. I call it dreaming. So when we jump into creating a retirement vision,
Mm-hmm.
I say no holds barred, right? We are not saying, well, what can you financially afford at this point? I want you to really get into the desires, your dreams, so that
Mm-hmm.
you can feel what that's going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And once you create that feel and that know, then we go look at the financial. And once you bring those two together, because you have such deep rooted desires and wishes, you'll do whatever you need to do to get there. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
so important to ground yourself into that. And then, and then we make the money work. So I really think, like you said, it's starting with the end in mind. Go there, and I always say top down. So what does it look like? Let's just casually start with something big and going downhill, and then we start getting a little more defined. And then it's like, okay, what does your Monday look like? What is your
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday? And I really like to point that out. Like, it's not just, traveling or golfing, because that'll only take up so much time. It's really getting into the weeds a little bit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you are in winter and you're in a place where it's snowy and maybe you're not a snow creature. I lived in the snow and I was not a snow creature. So it's fine, So you change. Your lifestyle is different in the winter and the summer. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to stay happy, stay positive, keep going, and just really start thinking about all of the seasons. So, we really just start with the top and then move on down and get them excited about that. Because like I said, then when we go build it with what their finances look like, things tend to roll easier. We are able
Mm-hmm.
to align it up. We know what our values are. We know what our purpose is, and we can make it happen, and that's what I did on my journey, was like, this is what I want. So I don't care about all this other stuff that people are doing. It was great for them, and I celebrated them, but I'm like, look at what I'm doing. And so I just realized how that just created motivation and consistency, which is what a lot of people are looking for. And then you just go about it. And FOMO, fear of missing out, I didn't have it. I didn't have it. I had my eyes on the prize, and so,
Absolutely. And having the life that you designed is
yeah,
very different because again, when you're raising kids, right? We're most parents, we're doing what we need to do to put food on the table and have a house, put something over their heads.
yep,
But then once the kids are grown and gone and they have their own lives, then you're trying to figure out who you are, what you are. I teach a class on Saturday mornings, and one of my students is from India, and he was like, "Well, Linda, so tell me, what should people want to be invested in as an entrepreneur?" And I'm like, that's a very different story it's not a one size fit all. And
yeah,
that's what I'm gathering from the
yeah.
things that you're helping us to understand is that your retirement is not a one size fit all.
Mm-mm,
There are a lot of
mm-mm,
variables in there based on what your desires, your goals are. And then your finances, what that looks like. All of
mm,
that plays into what
yeah,
will your life look like when you're retired.
yeah,
But again, you only have to get that first check. You get that first
exactly.
retirement check, and you have a rude awakening. Like,
Yes,
whoa, wait a minute.
yes,
This is not
yes.
what they told me.
Exactly. Exactly. Be prepared. I know my husband retired 3 years before I did. And so I tell people, we live in the same house, but retirement does not look the same. Yes, we're together. Yes, we're happily married, all of those things, but he loves to go out and work. And me, I love to work from my house. So,
Yeah.
it is not a one size fits all at all. So,
Yeah. And so you help them figure that out because it looks different. And for the first time, probably in a lot of people's lives, they get options. Like they get to select the options,
yes.
which is very
Yes.
different from having to do what you have to do.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And so I've put your site on wherever they're watching this.
Mhm.
And the process for a person, a new person, What does that look like? Is that a one-time appointment, or is that a series of appointments or classes, or what does that look like for them?
Yeah. So the most common is my Financial Freedom Accelerator. It's a
Mm-hmm.
3-month course, 6 sessions. We work around all those things. If somebody's not ready to commit to that, there is a one-time retirement strategy intensive. We can get that foundation built, if you want to explore that first. So yeah, there's those two options on there. And then there's also a checklist, retirement readiness checklist. You
Ooh,
can go download that. There's, 8 different areas. You can decide how ready you feel or how much help you might need. So those will kind of help guide you as well.
I love that. I love that. So you're meeting them wherever they are.
Exactly. Exactly.
I love that. I love that because again, people at different stages. You have some people that's thought about retiring since they were 30.
Yeah.
Like every day has been the goal, retirement. But then you have some people that don't even think about it until they're there. And then they look up and they're 50 plus years old and they're like, wait a minute, I need to be planning for retirement.
Yep. Yep.
And
And
you can
yep.
be either one where they are.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Exactly.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So when somebody's watching this video, absolutely, Shamia, when somebody is watching this video, what is the one takeaway you want to make sure that they receive?
That you can make retirement possible. I know there's a lot of people that are like, I don't have the number they say we need to have saved. I haven't been saving like I know I should have been. There's all of these, feelings and beliefs and just hey, I haven't done everything I need to. No, let's make retirement possible. And just like you said, it's not a one size fits all. We
Mhm.
can make it fit. We can make it fit you. It's all about customizing, supporting you, creating that next lifestyle. I don't know how many people are like, well, I'm just working because I don't know what I would do otherwise. Let's figure that out. Let's figure out what you're going to do otherwise. Life doesn't end when you stop working. Life is not over when you stop working. Like, go explore and go be something different. I love to share this. My husband was a Zamboni driver for a couple of months. And,
Okay.
everybody loves watching the Zambonis and they're like, oh, if I could drive that. And he was able to do that, and that's just
Mm.
because it's not about doing the things to put food on the table anymore because we are retired and we have that. It's about fulfillment and purpose and meeting people. He's met so many people and just had such a good time. So,
Oh, that's so wonderful. And see, that's the thing. That's true retirement to me, is that you now design the life that you want. And all the things that we think we've gotten too old for, or we think that, oh, we had those dreams. That's why it's important to go back and look at what our dreams and ambitions were and then reconnect with them at this age. So
mhm.
now, I have people that wanted to be a chef or an accountant or whatever, all these different things. You have gathered this whole book of work and a whole book of worth. And so why not share it and pay it back? What an awesome way to just live your dream. That's a great story for your husband. Tell him
Yeah.
good job. Good job.
Yes. Yes.
That's a great example of what retirement was meant to be.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
like those dreams. People think they're too old. Well, I wanted to be this when I was, in my 20s or whatever that is. But now I think I'm too old to do that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah. Go put yourself back into college. I mean, I remember when I went to college and seeing, I mean, I wasn't like 18, 19 at the time. I was a little bit older because I worked full time as I was going through college. But I remember the older people there putting themselves through school. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you're not too old to do anything. Just
Mm-mm.
go and, I've heard of how many people going to law school in their 50s.
I love it.
And then, I'm like, wow,
It's a
that's
different
awesome.
thing. Yeah, because I,
Yeah.
I received my MBA at 57.
Oh, that's right.
And
Yes.
see, yeah, and
Yes.
so, I was one of the oldest people there, but the whole experience, I promised myself, and I got to check that off, as I wanted to have a degree from the University of Tennessee. And I
Mhm.
decided to go back and take business administration with an emphasis on data analysis. And so I love data, I love information, and it just fit. And then it means different. It means more to you when
Yeah.
you go at this age than you did when you went, when you were younger and distracted.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Very true. Very
yeah.
true.
But I love this, love this, love. This has been a great conversation, and I hope
Yes.
that somebody that's watching it will, knock on your door and say, hey, help
Yes.
me figure this retirement thing out because I have no clue. I have
Yes.
no
I
clue
would
what that.
love to help you. Love to help you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Shamir James owns a legacy a store where she's teaching people how to put things together for family history.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, she has a great story. She's coming on in a couple of weeks, but we're talking about her and her grandmother who was 93, and she wanted to know all the descendants. So part of Shamir's offering is she's helping people put those books together so that
Love
they
it.
have those memories. What about if that's your roots, or if you're the retirement people and you get to build those stories for everybody?
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. So,
So it's whatever it is. It's whatever your heart's desire. Whatever
yep.
you think that your retirement will be, you help them map that out and give them a strategic plan to get that done.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. We dream and then we give strategy and you go and do. You go and do and make you, and make you believe you can do because yeah, that's what you need. That's all you need.
I love it. I love it. That is just beautiful. That is so beautiful and so needed to help people to understand that retirement can be fun. Don't let that
Yes.
first check kill you.
Yes.
That's so
No, no.
if you've already
Exactly.
prepared, you've already met Dalene, you've already met Dalene, and she's helped you map out a plan. It's not going to be as bad as people. It's kind of like when we first started working as kids, and we didn't know anything about taxes and
Yes.
withdrawals and all that, and we've worked all these hours, and we think, oh, I've worked all these hours, I'm gonna get all that money back, and then they get that first check, and
Yep.
they tell you to have a conversation with your kids before they get that first check,
Yeah.
because they'll think, oh, wait a minute, where did my money go? This is similar to that.
Yes. Yes. My daughter, case in point, she calls me with her first check and she goes, Mom, who is this FICA person? And I'm like, oh, let me explain.
Yeah.
So, yes. Yes.
That's what so many people get when they retire. Like it's like
Yeah.
that whole
Yeah.
experience all over again. Like,
Yes.
okay, who are these people, and why am I having to pay taxes as a retiree, and what does that
Yep.
look like? And yeah,
Yep. Yep.
why am I paying for insurance? Like, what am I paying for all
Yeah.
these things?
Yep. Exactly.
Things we don't think about
Exactly.
that goes with
Mhm.
retirement.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So
So,
thank you for your yes. Thank you for coming on
yes.
and
Thank you.
telling my audience about how they can retire without worry, like set themselves up before, do the pre-work so that they have a good after during
Yes.
retirement to look forward to. And so you can find Dalene, go ahead and reach out and start that conversation. If you are interested in retiring or you don't have a retirement plan, then go ahead. And this is not all about finances, it's about whole life, right? She's talking about your whole life as a retiree, what that looks like. Go ahead and reach out to her. Her links are in the description where you're watching this. So go ahead and make the appointment, have the conversation, and have the best retirement possible. That's what
Yes.
this is for.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. So, closing words. You have anything you want to say?
If you don't think that you can retire, please schedule a call with me. I want to at least break that mold that retirement is possible for anybody. We just got to figure it out and believe in ourselves. So
Mm,
don't be afraid to reach out. Small call, it's no commitment. You don't have to work with me. 30 minutes, let's break one of your molds down.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And they can get that wherever you're watching this video. Go ahead, click the link, make the appointment, and get on Dalene's calendar. My name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug. I just plugged you in how you can retire without worry. I'll see you next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, here on the here on the Business Plugs Mixer. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.